Sometimes, fame can't protect you from heartbreak. And even when the cameras stop rolling, the silence can feel louder than any audience ever could. Today, that silence surrounds one of late-night television's brightest souls, Jimmy Kimmel, as he grieves the loss of someone who wasn't just his colleague, but his brother. Because early on November 11th, Jimmy shared news no one ever expected to hear. His lifelong friend, Cleto Escobedo III, the bandleader of Jimmy Kimmel Live, has passed away at just 59 years old. And in that moment, the laughter that once filled the stage, turned into silence. A friendship born in childhood. To understand the weight of this loss, you have to know the story behind it. Before the fame, before the lights, before the cameras, there were two kids growing up in Las Vegas. One was a mischievous young boy who dreamed of making people laugh. The other, a musical prodigy whose talent was impossible to ignore. Their names? Jimmy Kimmel and Cleto Escobedo. They met when Jimmy was just 9 years old, and from that day on, they were inseparable. Two best friends chasing two impossible dreams. They grew up side by side, performing together, sharing stages, and pushing each other to chase what everyone said was impossible. And when those impossible dreams finally came true, they lived them together. From dreamers to icons. When Jimmy Kimmel Live launched in 2003, Jimmy didn't have to think twice about who he wanted by his side. He called Cleto, the same kid who played music in the high school band, the same friend who believed in him before anyone else did. And from that day forward, Cleto Escobedo III became the musical heartbeat of Jimmy Kimmel Live. Every night, while Jimmy told jokes and shared stories, Cleto and his band, Cleto and the Cletones, set the tone. Their chemistry wasn't manufactured. It was real, decades deep, and built on trust. You could see it, in the way Jimmy looked toward Cleto after every punchline, or how Cleto's saxophone filled in the silence between laughter. They were more than host and bandleader. They were brothers living a shared dream. The sudden loss. On November 6th, fans noticed something unusual. Jimmy Kimmel Live suddenly postponed its taping, citing a personal matter. No one knew what was going on. Then, 5 days later, Jimmy shared the truth. Early this morning, we lost a great friend, father, son, musician, and man, my longtime bandleader, Cleto Escobedo III. To say that we are heartbroken is an understatement. Cleto and I have been inseparable since I was 9 years old. The fact that we got to work together every day is a dream neither of us could have imagined would come true. Cherish your friends, and please keep Cleto's wife, children, and parents in your prayers. There was no cause of death shared. No details. Just the sound of grief, and a lifetime of memories flooding back. Sometimes, you don't need answers to feel the pain. You just need a moment of silence. The music behind the man. To most fans, Cleto was the man with the saxophone, the smiling face beside Jimmy every night. But behind that stage presence, was a musician's musician. He toured with legends, Paula Abdul, Mark Anthony, Earth, Wind and Fire, earning a reputation for skill, soul, and sincerity. He could play anything. He could make any song feel alive. But what made Cleto truly special wasn't his talent, it was his heart. Jimmy once described Cleto as a child prodigy who never lost his joy. And that joy was contagious, it lit up every room, every stage, every person he met. Even after years of fame, Cleto always returned home, to his wife, his children, and his parents, who supported his music long before the world did. He didn't chase the spotlight. He just played from the heart. And somehow, that was enough to make him unforgettable. The silence on set. The lights still shine. The desk is still there. But something's missing. That easy laughter Jimmy shared with his best friend. That musical cue before every punchline. That heartbeat behind every show. Gone. The studio hasn't been the same since. Because when a friendship runs that deep, the loss isn't just emotional. It's physical. You feel it in the air. You hear it in the silence. Sound fades, faint echo of Cleto's saxophone from an old clip plays softly under narration. For 20 years, that music carried Jimmy's voice. Now, it's Jimmy's voice that carries the memory of that music. Jimmy's reflection on friendship and grief. Jimmy Kimmel has always been known for humor, for finding light in darkness. But this time, there are no jokes. Only reflection. He once said in an interview, "You think you'll have forever with your friends. But then one day, you realize forever isn't as long as you thought." Those words hit differently now. Because when someone's been beside you since childhood, through every dream, every failure, every victory, losing them feels like losing a part of yourself. Montage, Jimmy through the years, from radio shows to late-night stages, always with Cleto somewhere nearby. Jimmy didn't just lose his bandleader. He lost the friend who saw him before the fame, before the lights, when they were just two kids chasing laughter and sound. The legacy of Cleto Escobedo III. But this isn't where their story ends. Because Cleto left behind something that will never fade, his music, his kindness, and his legacy of love. He showed what true friendship looks like, loyalty that outlasts fame. He taught that success means nothing without people to share it with. Jimmy's tribute ended with 4 words. Cherish your friends. And maybe that's the message we all needed to hear. Because no amount of fame, money, or recognition can ever replace the laughter of someone you love. No trophy can fill the space left behind by a true friend. A moment of silence. For over 40 years, Jimmy and Cleto made people smile. And now, the music has stopped. But the melody, the one they created together, that will live forever.